Data collection is not a part of your course outline or course, but you should have some basic knowledge about how to collect the data, what are the different tools or instruments available with us for the data collection, what are the different methods you can follow. And then after that, data analysis. You are going to analyze the data to find out some relationship, some information that is hidden inside the data. For that, you can go for the some statistical test or like that one. Okay. So maybe by next week we can finish this important topic. So I didn't prepare any slides for the data collection method, so I'm going to follow the book itself. And I hope that you already got that book, Research Methodology by C.R. Kothari. So briefly, we are going to discuss what are the different methods, tools available for the data collection. Okay. So let us start with some methods of the data collection. You know that we divide the data based upon the how data is obtained in the two different categories. One is known as the primary data, one is known as the secondary data. Primary data is the fresh data, raw data collected directly from the field. Are you able to see this slide, this book on the screen? I hope so. Right. So primary data, you are going to collect. That is a fresh data, right? That is not reported anywhere. Secondary data is that is kind of data that is already collected by someone. Let's say some data is collected by government agency for some other purposes, but you want to get that data for your own purpose, you want to use that data. So that data collected by some other agency for their own purpose, but you are interested in that one for your own research. And you want to get that data, you are not going to the field to collect that kind of data. That kind of data will be known as the secondary data, right? You are getting it from some other sources. You are directly not collecting. It depends upon your research problem and definition. What kind of data you require to achieve your objectives, right? If you're going to do something new, novel study, right? Something original you are going to find out. Generally, it is seen that you are required to collect the primary data directly from the field for the industry or whatever your focus area is, right? So you are going to define the particular population and then you are going to make a sampling plan. How to do the sampling from home, you have to collect the data. And that data should be fresh one, so that should be known as the primary data, right? So that is the difference between the primary data and the secondary data. Now coming to the different tools available for the data collection. We collect the data by survey, census, etc. And in between we have the interview, observation, etc., etc. And finally the experiment. At the one end we have the survey. At the other end we have the experiments. Basic purpose is to find out relationship between the data and unknown in the universe. That means there may be the variables, as you know that some are known variables, some are unknown variables, right? And we want to find out relationship between them, correlation, whatever that may be, relation between them. And for that we go for the data collection. Generally, the survey go for the Through survey, we can study the possible relationship, and through experiment, we can establish what is the exact relationship between the variables are. This is the more concrete evidence that is going to give you, that is the experiment. And you know that in science or technology, we don't go for the vague terms or vague ideas. We have to give the concrete proof of the relationship, and if there is any relationship between the dependent and independent variables, right? So all these methods, survey or experiment, etc., through that you are going to collect the data. If you're going to perform an experiment, there is some input variables, some output variables, right? In that terms, you are going to change the input variables. Input variables are known as the independent variables, right? The variables which values can be manipulated, can be changed, is known as the independent variable. And dependent variable is that output you are going to get, that depend upon the input. Okay. So here you can get the more concrete sort of the, or more specific, precise relationship between the variables through experiments. Through survey, you can get the what kind of relationship there may be. But with the 100% certainty, you can't say anything. Yes. Okay. What are the different methods? These are the different methods we have or going to apply during the data collection. First one is observation method, interview method. Through interview, we can collect the data. Through questionnaire, through schedules, and other methods, you get the warranty card. Someone is giving you the warranty card, and when you are taking the services, let's say your product get damaged and you are showing that, from that also they collect the data. What is the durability of the particular product, or like that one? Do you know the bigger online sites like Amazon.com or etc. or Alibaba.com? On the daily basis, they generate around 3 to 5 terabytes of the data on daily basis through their website. And how to provide the services to their customers in a better and effective way, they have to analyze that kind of data, right? There are so many tools available online, and now the one field is coming up very fast and very applicable, that is the data science. If you are good in the data analysis, then you can extract the right information by analyzing the lot of the data, big data. You can be the data scientist, right? And that is a very good emerging area throughout the world. A lot of people are working on, yeah, that requires some sort of the software expertise, like, but that is not a big issue. Software application and coding can be learned by anyone, even the kids can learn. Okay. So these are the some of the techniques. Okay. I am not going into such a big details because this is a theoretical part, and you can easily go through this chapter. That will help you a lot in deciding how to collect that data, right? So you go through what is the basic benefits and advantage and disadvantage of each technique, interview method, observation method, and other methods, right? So I just wanted to highlight that. So this chapter is not in the course outline, but this may be helpful to you when you are going to design any kind of the questionnaire and other things, right? What should be in the questionnaire and how to distribute, like here, let's say, collection of the data through questionnaire. A number of people do the research using the questionnaire. Master thesis like that one here. So what should be the content? What should be the characteristic of questionnaire? Okay. This you can, let's say there should be a general form in which you are going to write the general definition as a general information about the participant. From where, background, demography, age, sex, whatever that may be, position. That has nothing to do with your research problem, but you want the general information. And then you go for the structured questioning and like that one. So please go through this chapter at least once before starting your. Now we go for our data part and data analysis part. That is, let me, yeah, come to this slide. So basically we are interested in the statistics, right? Wherever there is a data and you are going to analyze, what is the definition of a statistics? Can anyone tell me? How to define the statistics? Anyone? Yeah, tell me. Do you know what do we study in the statistics? What we do?
Collecting the data.
The online definition of the statistics. Okay. Here you can see statistics is a practice or science of collecting and analyzing numerical data in large quantities, especially for the purpose of inferring. Inferring means to extract out, to get out some proportion in which whole from the those in the representative sample. So you are going to collecting data collection and analysis. Both are part of the statistics, right? And for what purpose you are going to do that? What is the purpose? Purpose is to find out some information, right? Some information. And in which term you are going to find out that data? Some variables has to be defined. In experiment also, you are going to define some variable. Let's take the example of the experiment itself. You can apply the statistics anywhere, in the survey, in the experiment, or anywhere, okay? So, in experiments, you define some variables, some input variables, some output variables, independent variable, dependent variable, right? And in that term, you are going to collect your data. You are changing the input variable or independent variable value and seeing how that is going to affect the output variable, right? And analyzing by the suitable tools, depending upon your objective. Tell me, when I was doing my PhD, I collected the data for the sustainable manufacturing indicator set for the small and medium scale industries. And I have to establish a relationship between the applicability and the importance of that indicator. Being important is another thing, right? Okay, this is the important for the sustainable manufacturing, but whether that is applicable or not, whether we can practically apply or not, is that feasible to apply? And after that, the importance and applicability of those indicator that is going to satisfy both the criteria. That is important as well as applicable. That should be recommended as the set of the indicator for the sustainable performance measurement, or like that one. Okay. So these are, whenever you're going to collect the data, there should be some variables in terms of that you are going to collect the data. So already you know that variable is the characteristics or condition that change or text on the different values. There can be two types of the data. Okay. One is the variable, one is the constant. Constant value, numerical value, is not going to change irrespective of the any circumstances. Like PV equal to nRT, that is the gas equation. The value of N will be remain constant. Same way, F equal to G. G is the gravitational constant value, M1 M2 by R square. Here, gravitational constant, they are known as a constant, Boltzmann constant, different type of constants we have. So you are not going to include or going to analyze the constant. Already that is proven their value, you find out, and it is proven that irrespective of any condition or anything. In most cases, the value of the constant should be remain constant. So whenever you are going to establish, like already I said that, what are our purpose here? If you see the purpose through research or data collection, what we are going to do, we are going to establish the some relationship between the variables, right? Yeah, possible relationship between the data and unknown. That means data in terms of the some variables, input data, and unknown means something that is not known, or the, you can say the dependent variable. Okay. For that, we are going to do the survey or the experiment or whatever, different techniques, different tools available to us, right? So most of the research begins with the general question about the relationship between the two variables. There may be the interaction effect also. More than two variables is going to affect the output. Okay. I think already we have talked about that one in some previous classes. If needed and time permits, we can discuss in detail that one. So these are, and some basics about the population. You know that population is the entire group of individuals called the population, where your interest is, right? Like in the academics, we can think of that, what is the effect of the class size on the academic performance, right? That may be a area of the interest or the topic of the interest for someone. What should be the optimum class size, 25 students per class or 30 students per class, 50 students per class, like, okay. That depends. So this kind of, so in that case, all the classes should be the population, but you can't do the research on all classes, so you have to take some samples. Usually the population is so large that a researcher cannot examine the entire group, entire interested universe, population, whatever that may be. Therefore, a sample is taken out or selected or chosen on basis of your sampling design. Okay, how you are going to select the sample, and that result, whatever result you are going to obtain from the samples, That may help, not necessary. Sometimes there may be the sampling error or something and the error in the analysis, but most of the time we assume that whatever data is telling us from the sample, that is also true about the population. Right? So how the circle goes? Here the population, all the individual of the interest in which you were interested. From that you're going to take the samples, okay, using some sort of a sampling design or like that one. The sample is selected from the population, and then you were selected to participate in the research study. What is the sample? That is the individuals, items, members, whatever that may be. And then you collect some data. So you ask some questions. You distribute the questionnaire. Through questionnaire, you will collect, you take the interview, you do the observation study, whatever that may be. Different tools you have for collection of the data. And analyzing that data, you come with some results about the sample. And that result is generalized for the population. The results from the sample are generalized for the population, right? And this cycle goes on. Okay. Now we have to discover what are the different types of the variables available to us for the data collection, right? As an engineering student, you are better acquainted with, or you have the better knowledge of the two types of variables available to us, that is the discrete and the continuous, right? Variables can be classified as a discrete or continuous. Discrete means they take the some stand-alone values, like number of students in a class, or population of a state, population of a country, right? That kind of variables can be known as the discrete variables. In any class, a student cannot be 4.5. That should take always integer value. That cannot be continuous. Like you can't say 4.235 is the number of students, or number of trees in a jungle, or whatever that may be. Or let's say you want to find out number of apples in a 1 kg mass, or 1 kg measurement, or like that one, anything. So that kind of variables are known as the discrete variables. They cannot take all the values. Only a specific value they can take. On the other hand, we have another type of variable known as the continuous variable. They can take any value on the given scale, like temperature. Okay. Temperature, you can measure temperature. Generally, that is for the simplicity. People say that 15 degrees Celsius, 16 degrees, 17 degrees. But you can measure temperature in the fractions also. If you want to be make the very precision measurement, or like that one, or length measurement, time measurement. You can measure the time in the years, months, weeks, hours, seconds, millisecond, microsecond, nanosecond, whatever that means. And people do like that one. Such kind of instruments are available to measure to the very minor details. How the minimum or minimum value of any measurement you can take, that depends upon your measuring instrument. What kind of instruments available with you? And here comes the basic concept of the least count. Can anyone tell me what do you mean by the least count of an instrument? Anyone? You can unmute your microphone. And what do you mean by the least count? Hello?
Sir, your question, please.
What do you mean by least count of any measuring instrument? Have you heard the term least count?
The minimum amount of ability to
Yeah, minimum value of the measurement can be effectively or accurately measured by an instrument is known as the least count, right? So that depends. There are so many limitations you are going to face when you are going to do the research. Okay. That's why it is said that any time you can't say, okay, this is the final result. After that, there is nothing hidden in this. Development of science is an ongoing process. What today we are reading as a law, tomorrow that can be rejected by some new findings. The classical mechanics is not applicable at very small scale, quantum scale. So we got the another mechanics for that one, that is known as the quantum mechanics. Earlier when Newton came, law of motion and the gravitation and other things, Newton's cooling law, he given a lot of contribution, even the calculus, etc. That time people believe that, okay, this is the final one. After that, Einstein came, he came with the relativity theory and like that one. And he proved the limitation of that classical mechanics. That is not a, so like that research goes on, new evidence comes and we disapprove the earlier established theories, concepts. And this cyclic process goes on, and by that way we are going to create a lot of the knowledge base, accurate knowledge. Okay, so not going into such a philosophical details. Coming to the measuring variables, to study the relationship between the variables, researcher must observe the variables and record their observation. Means you are going to record that data. If let's say input is this much for a machining operation, let's say input is the speed, depth of cut, feed rate, rate of the coolant, tool geometry. Out of tool geometry, let's say there is 7 different parameters for the tool geometry or tool signature, you know that. Out of that, you can consider 2, 3, whatever that may be. Tool life, then tool life may be the output parameter. Okay. So if you are going to see the effect of this, let's say on the tool life itself, what is happening when you are going to increase the speed, increase or decrease the depth of cut, increase or decrease the feed rate, when you're going to apply the coolant at the different rates and changing the tool geometry also. And then you are going to analyze what is the effect on the tool life, what is the tool life of a particular tool. For that, you have to record all the data, all sort of speeds, depth of cut, like this. And same time, you have to record what is the tool life, observed output. So this requires that the variable to be measured. Some variables you will define, like speed you can select, depth of cut you can select. But to life, you have to measure with the help of some stopwatch or like that one. Or what time that is going to perform well, right? So process of measuring a variable requires a set of categories called a scale of measurement, on which scale you are going to measure that one. And a process that classifies each individual into the one category. Till now, we have discussed only two types of the data set, but our data is not limited to only that two types. Let's take an example of that. If someone is interested in the color of pen or mobile or the notebook front page, how can you define that kind of data? Preference, right? Whenever you're going to serve your customers, customers may be more inclined toward the particular color, or for some purpose, some religious purpose or some marriage purpose, we are interested in some sort of the predetermined colors. So how are we going to decode that kind of data? And what that data should be set? So that kind of data is known as the nominal data, and that is recorded on the nominal scale. Like here you can see the nominal scale is an unordered set. There is no order. There is nothing in order like this is the greater than, this is the less than, or like that one. Like if you are going to record some sort of the preference, color, taste, whatever that means, they can only identify by the names like green, blue, like that one. If let's say we are analyzing the color and the color of the two set is matching blue to blue, we can say okay, they are same. If not, we can say they are different. Then comes the second set, ordinal scale. What is the ordinal scale? You have seen that in the questionnaire they ask that somewhere you go for some sort of the survey. They ask, okay, rate your preference on the scale of 1 to 5. 1 is to disagree, 5 is to fully agree. Let's say 1 is the fully disagree, 5 is the fully agree. So you know that this is the ordered set. When you are proceeding from the 1 to 5, there is a direction there, right? There is a direction there. 1 to 5 means fully disagree to fully agree. Like more likely, more unlikely, like that kind of data. What you are collecting, that is the opinion from your respondent. So this is the order. Here in the nominal scale, there is no order. Only by value or by name, not value, not the numerical value, but a linguistic value there should be. A name will be there or like that one. Right? Another kind of measurement scale may be the interval scale. Like when you are going to measure the temperature or anything on the Fahrenheit and the Celsius. They are kind of the interval scale. They are equally interval something. That gives the difference between the temperature like that one. And at some point, 0 is located. Okay. That not necessary that 30 degrees Celsius is 2 times hotter than the 15 degrees Celsius. No, not like that. Because that is the interval scale. That happens in case of the ratio scale. Ratio scale give the reading just in the proportion, same ratio. Hotness of the 30-degree, okay, what is the temperature? Kelvin scale is the ratio scale. In the temperature scale with the Kelvin, right? So that is a temperature scale. So if you are going to measure the temperature on the Kelvin, (303 Kelvin), that is the 30 degrees Celsius, okay, will be 2 times hotter than what should be 270 something, 3 plus 15, 288 Kelvin, like that one, okay. So in the ratio scale, 0 is at that point there is no variables or something, because none of the variables. And you know that from the thermodynamics, by any means or whatever that may, we can't achieve the absolute 0 degree Kelvin. Okay, so that is the basic difference between the interval and the ratio scales. And we have the different type of the scale depending upon our purpose. We find out what scale we have to use. Okay. Now I have less than 1 minute of time, and okay, we can go for this kind of study in the next class, correlation and other. Okay. If you have any question, anything you want to discuss, now forum is open for your question and answer. Okay. You can discuss, you can ask. We have less than 1 minute. Keep in mind that time. I am expecting your questions. No questions?
Clear, sir.
Okay. So we'll try to finish this topic by the next week. Okay. And your semester end is also coming. Some other topics, there is seminar and thesis writing. I'll give some notes about that one, and if time requires, I'll explain that one. That is not so important, but this topic is the very important one, data analysis. Okay. So we are going to give the more focus upon this topic. Okay. Thank you very much. See you next week. Bye.
Thank you, doctor.
Thank you, doctor. Bye.